Good morning. This morning we're going to make some hash, and I'm going to tell you how I made the ground sausage. I made a homemade. You can use regular sausage that you buy at the store, or if you have any ground turkey around, or ground chicken, or even ground pork, you may want to try making your own. It's really good. It's very easy. So I started with a pound of ground turkey, and I seasoned it with some onion, maybe a quarter to a half cup of onion, a quarter cup of red peppers, and then I added in various seasonings, and I'll walk you through that. I used my Borsari. This is the savory blend. It has fresh herbs, thyme, lavender, spices, and it's infused with sea salt. So I added some of that, about maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric. Turmeric is really good. It has a lot of antioxidant promoting capabilities in it, and doesn't really add, a quarter of a teaspoon's not going to really add that much. You're not going to taste that much flavor in it, but it really has a nice flavor. Can be a little bit, give you a little bit of a kind of a spicy flavor. I added just a few shakes of ground mustard. That can sometimes be quite hot, so you want to be careful with that unless you want it hot. And I added fennel seed, maybe a teaspoon of fennel seed. I added about a teaspoon of garlic powder and about a teaspoon of sage. And I added a little bit of flaked red pepper. Again, if you don't want any heat to it, definitely don't add that. And I would say I added about a palmful of just an herb de Provence. And I cooked that all up, and as you can see, by using a pound of the ground turkey, I ended up with about 3 dishes, and I'm going to freeze these 2 so that I have them to use later, and we're going to use this morning. Now, to go in my hash, I'm cooking up some root vegetables. Don't be afraid of root vegetables. Experiment, try them. I think you'll be really surprised whether you eat them raw or whether you cut them up, cook them, and season them up. They're amazing. And I'll be posting about all the nutritional value that you get from using root vegetables. A lot of vitamins, just overall a lot of nutrients. So in this hash this morning, we've got about a quarter to a half cup each, and it's your choice, whatever you want to do and whatever kind of vegetables you want to use. But what we did this morning was fennel and carrots, rutabaga. You really should try rutabaga. I had no idea what it was, picked one up at the store, and we've been using it consistently ever since. Daikon radish, red pepper, and some onion. And then I'm actually going to, as this is cooking, you can see it's getting quite soft, which is what we want. We want all the vegetables to be soft. And I did sprinkle, again, some of my wonderful Borsari, and it doesn't matter which blend you use. I switch them up, but this morning I'm using the savory blend. And then I also am going to be adding some fresh herbs, and I want to show you what I've got over here. You can see I've chopped them up already, and all total it's probably a couple of 3 tablespoons. We're going to add some chopped mushrooms. Got a few red peppers in there, but we're going to chop up some mushrooms. I used tarragon, I used basil, and I used some rosemary. And I'm going to add in some of my microgreens. Again, I cannot stop singing the praises of microgreens. You could also add some cilantro if you wanted to. I'll probably add just a little of that. And then I'm going to add in some baby bok choy. I'm going to chop that up, and we're going to add that in here in just a second. But you could use spinach, you can use mustard greens, you can use kale. You could use whatever leafy vegetable you wanted. I just happen to have some baby bok choy. I like the flavor, and I'm going to use that. All right, I added the herbs, I added the mushroom, and I added the baby bok choy, and I'm going to let that kind of cook down. I also want to say, don't be afraid of using different vegetables and experimenting, and definitely with the herbs. Don't be afraid on the herbs either. And as you've heard me mention, my mentor and very good friend, Chef Gaspar Stantic, as he basically taught Bruce and I years ago, while you can over season with salt and pepper, you really can't over herb a dish, and it will add a lot of wonderful flavor. I'm going to let this kind of cook down a little, let the greens, the bok choy, wilt a little, and then I'm going to mix in the sausage, and it's ready to go just like that. Or you can add a scrambled egg, you can add poached eggs, you can add fried eggs, and I'll show you how we're going to finish it off this morning. Finished product. We did poached eggs this morning and topped it off with just a few microgreens. And if you want to keep this vegetarian, you definitely can just do the vegetables and you don't have to add any meat. Or if you want to use some kind of vegan meat replacement, you can definitely do that. So very, very easy. Poaching the eggs might not be quite as easy, so I would recommend doing a fried egg or putting some scrambled eggs on it if that's the direction you wanted to go. So there you have it. I hope you enjoy. Bon appetito.